Hello, I'm Philip Brunelle, Artistic Director and founder of Vocal Essence and organist choirmaster at Plymouth Congregational Church in Minneapolis. So each day, I've selected a composer who's had a role to play with both organizations, and today it's the French composer Darius Milhaud, M-I-L-H-A-U-D, Milhaud, of course. Born in 1892, died in 1974. He was a composer, a conductor, a teacher, and he was a member of that group of 6 composers called Les Six, S-I-X, a group of 6 composers in the 20s who formed a bond to write music that was going to be not what was currently being heard with people like Richard Strauss and Richard Wagner. So he moved into a different direction, but also at that time he did some wonderful music with film early on. He studied at the Conservatoire in Paris with Widor, also with Dandy, and then in 1917 he went with Paul Claudel, the writer, who became the ambassador to Brazil from France. And while he was there, he was taken with the wonderful music of the bands in Rio de Janeiro. And he wrote a set of what are called saudade. They are popular music. And the word saudade, which means intense longing for something. And he decided to write 12 of them, each of them patterned after a neighborhood in Rio de Janeiro. So I'm going to play for you the one called Botafogo, which was a region of Rio down by the waterfront. And of course it has that Brazilian pattern which keeps going. Most of it very tonal, but occasionally it becomes sort of bitonal as you hear other things. It's sort of like if another band came down the street at the same time. Botafogo. Music of Darius Milhaud. He became famous for a piece called The Creation of the World, which was a rather wild piece that he wrote back in the 19 teens, and it featured solo saxophone, which was, of course, rather unusual in those days. He also, of course, later, during World War II, because he was Jewish, he fled from France to the USA, and for many years taught at Mills College out in California. Later, he alternated 1 year at Mills, 1 year in Paris at the Conservatoire. While he was at Mills, he had a young student who became absolutely fascinated with Milhaud. It's a guy named Dave Brubeck. And when Dave's first son was born, he named him after Milhaud. His name was Darius. He also then taught at the Music Academy of the West. And he had a student there by the name of Bert Bacharach, to whom he said, and I love this quote, "Don't be afraid of writing something people can remember and whistle. It's okay." He was fascinating. I'm sorry I never met him. But also, he wrote a lot of choral music. And the piece that I'm going to play is one movement that he wrote in the 1940s during World War II. It's a piece called Cantata of War. Again, Claudel wrote the text. And this second movement, which is so beautiful, and the Plymouth Choir has sung it several times, begins with the text, "My people, what have I done? Why have you turned from me? For I knocked at the door and would enter, but you would not let me in. Do learn from me, for I am good and humble of heart." And then it ends by saying, "Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." Music of Darius Milhaud, the second movement of his Cantata of War. And you'll hear that the bass, of course it was in French originally, the bass constantly goes and keeps doing that on the word nunc all the way through, now. Then a duet. Music of Darius Milhaud. Have a wonderful day.